What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Talk the Real Deal with AT2. And yes, I'm your boy AT2. How everybody doing? How everybody living? How everybody feeling today? What's up, everybody? Let me see who's in the chat. What's up, Tracy? What's up, Queen B Moore? What's up, Angie? What's up, Ebony? What's up, Miss Fabby? Hello. Beautiful. I see beautiful up in the building. Hello. Who else we got here? Foreign Bay. We got Sun. What's up, Ariel? Hello. Descendants of greatness. Y'all, it's a lot going on. And by the way, we are on two different screens. So we are vertical and we're horizontal too. So if you guys want the better view, come to the other live where it's horizontal. What's up, everybody? What's up, Koale? Hello. Enigma. Okay, I see a lot of y'all up in the building. Okay. All right. Well, without further ado, we're going to get right into it. We are going to talk about Nicki Minaj making her appearance at Turning Point. I don't know if the event is like special to where like I can't play it or not. I feel like for the most part, I'm just going to hit on a few things. We're not going to watch her long ass. We don't need to hear the bullshit. I'm just gonna get straight to the point. We don't need to hear all this BS. I'm just gonna give you an overview of what I thought. And I kind of said it the last show, but I want to state this again. I think this is the perfect opportunity for people who follow Nicki Minaj or people who are still barbs. I guess if you still like 12 years old, you still a barb, right? But this is your opportunity to make your decision on whether or not you still want to support Nicki Minaj. And I just want to be clear. I'm not saying don't support her, but this is the opportunity for you guys to make a decision whether or not you want to follow somebody based on their music or you want to follow somebody based on their politics. Now, here's the thing. For the longest time, the Barbs was gaslighting us, right? Saying, oh, Nicki, she just supporting the Christians and da-da-da-da-da-da and all this other shit. Trying to basically let you know, like, oh, she didn't go MAGA. She's not for Donald Trump. She's just trying to protect the Christians. Well, I think today kind of confirms that, she went full MAGA. She definitely is now with MAGA talking about, Christians and the problem over in Nigeria. She also talked about Gavin Newsom. She said, with the girls, Black women don't have to denigrate or put down white women in order to uplift themselves. Who's telling white women that they're not beautiful? Is there like a long history of people like telling white women they're not the beauty standard? Are they telling the white women that they have to go get textured hair? They have to have kinky hair? Are they telling the white women to darken their skin? Are they telling them to get fuller lips? I think if anything, they see the beauty standards of Black women and want to emulate that, if anything, more or less. But even with that being said, there hasn't been a historical context of white women being told that they're not beautiful or they need to change the way they look. Those are more choices. Because when you think about it, there's not a Crown Act for white women. For those of you who don't know what the Crown Act is, the Crown Act is anti-discrimination laws against Black people and their natural hair. Anyone actually is for anyone with natural hair, but you cannot discriminate on basis of hair at the workplace anymore. Well, the law is in New Jersey. I know there's one in New York. Now, Pennsylvania has one. California, we was the first one. Texas have one. But I don't know if there's any laws against white people. I think uplifting Black beauty does not diminish anybody else's race. I think more so it at least lets you know, hey, you're beautiful too. Don't let nobody tell you that you're not beautiful. So that was a whole weird talking point. Again, her issue with Newsom is that Newsom did not, quote unquote, protect her when her house was swatted. And so she's mad at Gavin Newsom and wants to get her revenge. Honestly, to tell you the truth, this whole MAGA turn that Nicki is doing, it's a revenge on the Democrats, Black people, anyone who questioned her opinion. This is her FU to them. Where now, and let's be honest, with the right, they are the party of conspiracy theories. You know, it's the birthplace of QAnon and all that, right? So with that being said, they'll welcome somebody like Nicki Minaj. And let's be honest, people know, celebrities know, if you go to Trump and ask him for something, he'll do it because he wants the recognition and he loves being around celebrities. Now, has Nicki asked for anything? We don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised at the end of Trump's term, you know, there's some pardons being handed out to people associated with Nicki, aka her husband. And I had seen it's funny because I had seen an old tweet from Nicki in 2018. Remember they were locking the kids up in cages? And she talked about how inhumane that was and how it was wrong. And she even said that she got here illegally through her parents. Because, you know, she's from Trinidad. She was here illegally. And so out of all the things, you know, she wanted to talk about the whole Christians being killed in Nigeria, which, again, mostly Muslims are being killed. But, you know, and I'm not saying that the Christians don't matter. But, again, most Muslims, when it comes to Muslim Islam extremists and stuff like that, they're mostly killing other Muslims. That's a fact. You can look that up. It's over 86, between 86 and 89%. I've seen two statistics, but it's at least above 80%. They're attacking other Muslims. Also, she hadn't said anything about Palestine and Gaza, and we see the people being murdered over there. So it's all like, well, what's your connection with the whole Christian thing? Is it because Trump said it and so you believed it? Also, Trump said there was a genocide of white people in South Africa. And we know that's not true. South Africans are not being killed. White South Africans, let me make that clear. And on top of that, white South Africans own 70% of the land in South Africa. They're doing A-okay, trust me. But again, Nicki doesn't do any research. She doesn't do her history. All she knows is that, oh, this sounds great. They're welcoming me. They're making me feel seen. So this is the side that I want to go with. And I don't think necessarily it's that they care for Nicki so much. It's just that finally they have somebody who would be considered an A-lister that's on their side. Because let's be honest, mostly, you know, when it comes to like the public figures who are more right-leaning, you have, what's his name? What's the old dude name? Why can't I think of the old Clint Eastwood? Somebody said Adam Sandler is a Republican. Is that true, y'all? Adam Sandler? You have Hulk Hogan who passed away. You got Amber Rose. You know, you got the Nick Fuentes's, Charlie Kirk passed away. You got the Alex Joneses. You like a lot of the people, like the public figures that are MAGA, are more like TV anchors. Oh, Kid Rock. See, y'all proving my point. people who don't fucking matter. Like, that's who they got. Listen, they would love to have a Cardi B. I even seen a video of like this guy. He was like, "Oh my God, the Queen's here!" And then somebody in the crowd was like, "Oh, is that Cardi B?" He was like, "No, not that roach. That's Nicki Minaj." Blah 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 blah. So a lot of those people in that crowd at AmFest, they didn't even know who she was. But again, they'll praise somebody like that. Waka Flocka and his mama. See when you compare like the celebrities, it's like, oh, do you really want those people? Oh, okay, that's another one. Nicki has always been MAGA, and here's the thing. She's always had this in her. But you don't want to hurt your money. You don't want to hurt your check. You want to make sure that you keep your money coming in. And I don't think, there's a part where she said, "Let the boys be the boys." I don't think that necessarily was against trans people. I think more or less she was just trying to come up with something catchy to say after she accidentally said J.D. Vance was an assassin. So she was just trying to think of something to say. I think people clipped that. So I don't think she was necessarily talking about trans people. But we know when she's making digs at Gavin Newsom, she's talking about how, he's for trans kids and all that stuff. And that's not true. So again, Nicki will just repeat things that she has heard, but she's not actually doing research and looking it up herself. She's a mouthpiece. And more or less, I don't care about the whole Barb thing. So I don't care. But I know a lot of people follow Nicki Minaj. So at the same point, when you have someone like that and they have a voice, it's a little scary because now whatever she's hearing from MAGA, she's in a whole different algorithm compared to everybody else, you guys. What's up, Blessing? She's in a whole algorithm. She's strictly MAGA, 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 right? So with that being said, whatever information is getting funneled in, it's all from the right. And now she's going to be reposting that, be retweeting it. She's going to be the main vocal point. And this is what she wanted. She always wanted to feel important in this way. The whole Christian thing is interesting to me because I don't consider these people Jesus-like at all. I don't consider these people a representation of God at all. I more or less consider these people demons. I consider these people hypocrites. I don't consider these people God at all. I don't. And I don't care what you say about Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was a motherfucker. Any disagreements with that? Mr. quote unquote context? I still don't give a damn about Charlie Kirk. Unfortunately, he was assassinated, but I still don't give a damn about him. Oh, well. Unfortunate, but I'm not crying. I'm not losing sleep. And it's so strange because, the whole AmFest, and this is the event, AmFest, it's like a weekend event, right? This is supposed to be like the record-breaking biggest event of this year, this AmFest that they did. And I'm wondering, because necessarily Turning Point is a nonprofit, but how much did they pay Nicki? Do y'all think Nicki got a paycheck? Put a 1 in the chat. You think Nicki got a check? Put a 2 in the chat. No, she wanted to do this. Well, 2 in the chat. No. she didn't get a check. That's another thing. They made Jesus white. She did it for $7K. Oh, Lord, that's shit. That's pretty low. And again, when we look at their taxes for next year, it's not going to say this went to Nicki Minaj. You'll have to look under compensation for the event. Just remember that. You'll have to look under compensation. It won't say we pay Nicki Minaj whatever, blah, blah, blah. You have to look at the compensation number. Because remember, Turning Point in 2023, they were in the hole. Oh shoot, I went out. Okay, put a 1. Can you guys still see me? I know next year they are about to make a killing. I'm curious to see what the taxes is going to be for next year, y'all. A lot of y'all put a 1. Yeah, 7,000. That's a low ball number. Maybe 7 million. That's pretty low. Now, I know some of you guys had, I was just reading briefly in the chat. Some of y'all said, like, no, you do think the boys will be boys. That was an attack against the LGBTQ community. And it could be. I said the way that it was kind of just clipped, it was kind of weird. But she had said the whole JD Vance assassin thing. And then she kind of caught herself. And then she said, oh, let the boys be boys. Now, it definitely could be. But I think she was just trying to think of something witty to say after she did that. Oh, thank you, son, for getting 5 memberships. Shout out to the new members. I think she was trying to think of something witty to say. But again, if it is what it is, and trust me, I don't think Nicki hates gay people at all. But she probably tired of seeing all them gays around. She's probably all like, you know what? I'm getting sick of y'all. She probably wants this kind of fan base. More adult, more Christian, more straight. But then, you know, you isolating your fan base. You said let the boys be boys, but most of the boys is the girls. So don't cancel me. Don't cancel me. Please don't cancel me. But most of the boys is the girls. Like, you know, that's your fan base. Like, how are you going to, like, just throw them away? I mean, y'all see the photos at the Pink Friday tour? The boys got on the pink, got on the dresses, got on the blouses. What's that clip of Kaya? You know I love Kaya when she said, everybody want to be the girl, who's going to be the boy? That's what Nicki said. Everybody want to be the girl, who's going to be the boy? You know? And I'm wondering, I'm curious to see how the album sales are going to be. Like, if she's going to be able to still sell out arenas, do tours. Like, something tells me, and y'all can disagree with me or not, but something tells me that her audience isn't too politically versed. So at the end of the day, I don't think they'll care. I think they will still support her no matter what. Now, I know that she has lost like a couple of 100,000 people on X and on Instagram and stuff like that. But I think that her audience is so diehard. I don't think this is actually going to affect her. let's do a 30-second countdown real quick. Do you guys think that this will affect Nicki Minaj's career? Yes or no?
Somebody called me and they said that this is a source call. We said that 82 bad views, deny bad views, because they was pointing me to the point like, Wally, see when they got done live, they only got 3 comments but all them views, so that means they bad views. I'm like, oh,
come on now, Wiley, I could have told you, that, and I'm like, oh,
I
know,
wow.
82 is buying his views. The ratios don't make sense. It don't make sense. How you reach the new milestones with subscribers, but your numbers are still the same? Like, I ain't never seen 82 with like 10K views, 5K views. I've never seen that. I've seen that with like 1,000.
And then what gets me with that situation, he said, how can I be jealous of someone that's buying views? I can't be jealous of that because I know that's.
You gonna be jealous of your son? You work with him.
Oh Lord, thank you.
Yeah, they idolize her. I don't see them changing their mind. I don't see them changing their mind at all. They gonna be with Nicki no matter what. $7,000. Thank you, Nadia. Yes, tell them to hit that like button. I keep forgetting that. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. But yeah, I don't think that this is going to change anything. I do think Nicki will take a hit, but I think she's assuming that the MAGA crowd is going to, pick up the slack. Thank you, Stephanie. You birthed him. Thank you for the $10. But she's thinking that the MAGA crowd is going to pick up the slack that she loses from her fan base. But as soon as Nicki says something that they don't like, they're going to turn on her too. I promise you that. I mean, look at Candace Owens. As soon as Candace Owens went against the grain, they was all like, oh, we got to get this bitch up out of here. Now, I'm not saying that I'm a fan of Candace Owens. Do I like that she's causing havoc over there? Yes. I love it. I love it. Yes, don't be sleep. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Yeah. As soon as Nicki starts saying something that they don't really like, and then they're going to flip on her. Another MAGA person that they've been flipping on, and I've been meaning to do this video. I'll do the video tonight. But a lot of people are coming for Angela Staten King. You know, the lady with the moly on her eye? They coming for Angela Staten King too. They don't like the way she talks and what she be saying because she'll go off a cuss. Right, Naughty. Yeah, and Nicki is not a citizen. Yeah, that's the other thing. And it's interesting because you would think like, well, damn, don't you want to become a citizen so then you can vote and then you can use your power? Like she's not trying to get a pathway to citizenship, And thank you, son. Cannot pardon on state charges, but he do want to use. Oh, you're right. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, he can't get a pardon because that's a state charge. You're right. Thank you for that, son. Tobago for a launch pad for Venezuela. MAGA wouldn't. And thank you for bringing that up too, son. And thank you for the $50. But y'all know those boats that they keep blowing up at sea over in Venezuela? One of those boats had people from Trinidad in it. Why has Nicki not talked about her people? She ain't talked about her people getting exploded in the water. And I hate to put it like that, but I mean, you're not going to talk about your people? And I told y'all that stuff is going to come back to haunt us. Them because mind you, they don't even know if it's drugs on the boat. They haven't produced one piece of evidence. What's being reported is that those are actual fishermen out in water and they're blowing them up in the water. But there has been no proof like, oh yeah, we found this amount of cocaine or, residual drugs or anything like that. It's no proof that there's actually drugs on that boat, on those boats, because it's been about 8 of them, I think, right? I know it's been more than 5, but I believe 8 in total. But there has been no proof that they're smuggling drugs, and also too, I told you guys this before, a well-known fact: hardly any drugs that are trafficked to America come from Venezuela. You know what country actually we get the most drugs from? Mexico, our neighbor. Now, any drugs that are transported from Venezuela, that goes to Europe or the Caribbean. But there are no drugs that come over from Venezuela to us. It's too far. If you look at the map, it's too far. It doesn't make any sense. And then they don't really, in Venezuela, they don't really produce drugs either. A lot of the stuff comes from Colombia, and Venezuela is more like a port for the other countries. Oh, and Africa too. So the Caribbean, Europe, and Africa, that's where they get it supplied from. Yeah, they want the oil. They want the oil. This is why they're doing all that. They're trying to basically agitate Maduro and then get him to like give up or give them something. They're trying to do regime change. And you know, listen, no one wants war anymore. You can be very diplomatic in the way that you do things to where you don't have to have a war, but they want a war. That's what they want. They want a war so they can do a regime change and then take the oil. Just like with the whole, that's why Nigeria said, no, we don't need your help. Nigeria refused help from Trump because they knew what he was trying to do. He's trying to take their resources, you guys. That's why they made this a big thing. Again, like I said in the beginning, that terrorist group in Nigeria, they've killed mostly Muslims. Yes, there are Christians that they have killed, but they're killing mostly Muslims. It's a lot of propaganda that they're using to trick people and make it seem like it's something so they can have an excuse to go over there. But Nigeria is like, hell no, we don't need your help. But Venezuela, they just want to go in there and start a war with them. But again, somebody like Nicki Minaj is not talking about that. She's talking about the attack on white women because white women are being denigrated to prop up black women, I guess. I guess that was her point. Is this the same Nicki Minaj that will call out, Cardi B and say that she's not black? And Cardi B be calling black women roaches and stuff like that? Is this the same woman right here? Oh, we got another membership. Thank you, son. Right. Bringing dope on fishing boats or speed boats has never been a means of transportation. Exactly. There's not, and also too with those speedboats and stuff, it's not enough gas or fuel to reach, over here or to really go anywhere. Hold on, this comment right here. She giggles, yes. I remember arguing with this guy on the few times that I went live on TikTok. And he was all like, we go to war so we can help people and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, you can say that, but we always go to war for some kind of monetary gain. He was all like, oh, well, when we went over there and fought with the Nazis and da-da-da-da-da, I was all like, yeah, we went over there to help them, but you think that we didn't get anything out of that? You know, when we didn't get anything out of Germany? It's a regime change and a distraction. Venezuela oil is trash and promised to China. Oh, I didn't know that. They promised that to China. French Guyana. Okay. War equals profit. Y'all right. See, I'm happy that my people know this. But the Barbs, do they know this? No, they don't. And sadly, they're still going to support her. They are. And, you know, I've been seeing on X, they've been attacking Cardi B and all this stuff. And it's all like, at least Cardi B was trying to tell y'all to get your asses out and vote. Did Nicki Minaj talk during the election? Did she say anything? I mean, she's talking now, but did she talk before? No. At all. I think this is about Nicki Minaj and the choices that she's making. And is she being responsible with her platform? And why would you be a part of this network, you know, talking about Turning Point USA, and you know the way they feel about Black people? But I guess this is the move that she want to make. And like I said, the Barbs, at the end of the day, they're going to have a choice to make. Whether they want to continue to stay with Nicki or they're going to be all like, hey, we ain't down with that shit. Let's pull our resources and let's pull our money. You know? What's up, Darius? We going to save our money. And I'm not saying that the Barbs should go over to Cardi or Megan or anybody else. You got to hit people where it hurts. You got to hit their wallet. That's how you make change. You hit their wallet. Just like with the boycott with Target. Now, I know some of y'all went back to Target, but you know, you have to hit people within their wallet. People, oh, and I hate saying this. This is going to be controversial right here. People don't make change because of people don't make change because they want to be a good person. They make change when they're financially hit. During the civil rights movement, the reason why you seen change because they were being hit financially. That's what they don't share with you. They are being hit financially. It's always been some kind of benefit to the reason why, just like the Civil War. I mean, we gonna take it back. The Civil War, because the North was already industrialized, but then they had free labor in the South because they had the slaves. So then they were all like, "Oh, okay. Well, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and start that war." But it wasn't the kindness because they cared about Black people or they cared about slaves. Trust me, when Michael Jackson said, all I want to say is that they don't really care about us. Yeah, that's the reason. And also too, because I got this in the last chat, I didn't get this in this one, but there was somebody who was saying like, oh, well, both parties are horrible and all this other stuff, blah, 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 right? Totally get that, totally understand that. Now, personally, for me, I do not like the both sides are bad argument. Could both sides do more for us? Yes, I definitely agree with that. But I don't want to compare both sides when you have one that is literally telling you, F you. I think that's very dangerous, and you have to be careful with that. But I do think that we, as a society, and as in, you know, because most of my audience is Black, but I'm talking to everyone, but Black people. But we have to be more strategic. Because if you notice, there's been this whole conversation about AIPAC, you know, the Jewish community with the AIPAC fund and all that. There's been a large conversation about how people don't want their politicians to be taking money from AIPAC. You know, you have to denounce them and stop supporting Israel and all this other stuff, right? Totally get it. And I agree, right? But where is the Black PAC? There are a few Black PACs out there, but where is like the large one that speaks for all of us to where we have power no matter who's in office? Because with I'm preaching, y'all, I'm preaching. Because with the Jewish community, no matter who's in office, they make sure that they people are good. And they make sure that Israel is well funded. But with us, you know, our people with power and influence seems like they get it for themselves and not for their people. You know, because Jay-Z, Beyonce, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, well, not Michael Jordan, he's secretly MAGA. LeBron James, Tyler Perry, you know, do they have a super PAC for Black folks? So then they can influence and lobby to get us our reparations? Put a 60 in the chat. No, a 40 in the chat if you want your reparations. Put a 40 in the chat for 40 acres and a mule. Put a 40 in the chat if you want your reparations. Exactly. So, you know, with that being said, the people with the power and the influence are making sure that everybody else, making sure that they're good, but not making sure all of us are good. That's one of the problems in our community, you know? At this point, I'll take 40 drinks and a puff. Mims, don't settle for less. You want your 40 million. Your 40 million. We each get 40. I'm just kidding. Listen, we probably won't even get $40. But 40 million, speaking in existence. You know, probably won't be our generation, but damn, at least one of the generations will get the reparations. Damn. But again, this is my thought on the Nicki Minaj situation and how, you know, at the end of the day, at least she's showing y'all who she is. It's not secret because, you know, most people will be all like, oh, yeah, I love everybody and da-da-da-da-da-da, and they're just preaching shit. I honestly thought that Kim Kardashian would have made this whole MAGA heel turn. I thought it would have been Kim Kardashian. Like, to me, Kim Kardashian makes sense because remember the day of the inauguration, she was posting Ivanka Trump. Ivanka Trump. She was posting, what's her name? Melania Trump. And like she was posting, you know, pictures with the Trump girls, right? And so it's like, that's interesting. I really thought Kim Kardashian, because notice how she's not talking about like what's going on with ICE and stuff like that. I think she did one post and that was it. But she's supposed to be a whole social justice warrior. I guess she like, go back to your country. Well, hell, they're not even sending them back to their own country. They send them to Sudan. What's the one in in Central America that they sending them to? Not Guatemala. Why do I want to say? Is it Nicaragua? Or is it Ecuador? Where they got the prison. Oh no, El Salvador, right? Where are they sending the people to? It's that one, El Salvador. Yeah, El Salvador. That's the one that they're sending them to. Again, it doesn't matter if they're from that place or not. They send them wherever they want to send them, which is crazy. But hey, this is what people wanted. So, all right, you guys, we're going to go ahead to the next thing. Let me go ahead and take this down. Uh-oh, it's not letting me take it down. Here we go. Oh, no. I did want to show you guys one more thing, because a lot of people were asking TS Madison to talk about the whole Nicki situation, and she finally did make a statement. So let's go ahead and pull it back up. And then I'm going to blow it up for you guys. Here we go. So T.S. Madison said, being a Christian and white Christian nationalists are two totally different things. To be a Christian is to be Christ-like. White Christian nationalists have nothing to do with Christ and everything to do with control. Then she said, I'm not a Christian. I separated myself from the religion once I learned its roots. I'm spiritual and I believe in God. But the institution of religion, nah. And then somebody said, who taught you to be a Christian? And then she said, I'm conflicted. I transitioned at a different stage in different times, so my views are all over the place. They are neither for nor against it. It says, Christ wasn't even a Christian, boo. I said Christ-like. And then play the audio recording of God saying anything. It sounds like a cop-out. Whenever y'all disagree with God's laws and expectations, okay, responding to somebody. Then T.S. Madison said, they asked me how I feel. This is how I feel. These feelings have nothing to do with Nicki. I'm an actual trans person that explained why I'm conflicted. And then Girl Chew, and mind you, the reason is not even factual and could easily be debunked by taking the time to do research on said subject. Okay, trans kids, but the law down with okay, because you don't want to, I explain my position on it and my perspective and my own experience, and you still try to narrate it around Nicki. Oh, okay, so I see. Okay, so it seemed like this person was calling out T.S. Madison for not going in because the conversation has been like, okay, T.S. Madison will go in on Just Hilarious, but won't go in on Nicki Minaj and the stuff that she says. So I think that's what that is about. Definitely conflicted. I, at one point, wish my mom would have let me transition early, but I am also grateful I got to experience being a butch queen till 17. So I am fully experienced into transition, but that's my story. So yes, conflicted. I'm conflicted. Okay, and then that's JD Vance's comments. Okay. All right, so now that I have that, let me go ahead and tell you guys what I think. So again, the conversation around whether or not children should transition, I actually don't like that. I don't want to say that I'm necessarily against it, but I don't like it. But here's the thing with that. The decision is usually with the doctor and the parent. It's not like the kids can just go ahead and transition themselves. I do think kids should be able to live out their life as children. And then once they get 17, you know, whatever, because by that time, you don't live your life and stuff like that. Now, there is no problem with what Nicki Minaj has said. The issue is that she's trying to spread propaganda saying that Gavin Newsom is for trans kids and all this stuff. Well, the funny part is that trans kids can still get access to everything that they've had before the Trump administration. Like, they haven't put an end to it at all. So if the trans issue was really this big issue, wouldn't they have put a stop to it already? They haven't put a stop to it. Now, they have taken funding. Yes, they have taken funding for different things. And, well, they've done that for cancer research and everything. But it's not like they have canceled it. Remember, they tried to say Kamala Harris was for giving people sex changes in prison? Well, that law was enacted when Trump was in office. And only one person in prison has ever gotten a sex change. But they try to make it seem like that was a law that Kamala Harris implemented, but it was actually during Trump. Listen, y'all know Caitlyn Jenner, right? Put a one in the chat. Y'all know Caitlyn Jenner. Hi, guys. How you doing, guys? You know, Caitlyn Jenner got a new vagina. They fucking the shit out of Caitlyn Jenner. You know them Republicans love them some Caitlyn Jenner. They fucking the shit out of I know, I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell. But listen, why the grinder be crashing at the RNC at the Republican convention, and then it was crashing at the Charlie Kirk Memorial? Now, I don't know about this Turning Point thing, but at the Charlie Kirk Memorial and then at the RNC, they crashed the grinder. So you can't tell me that they ain't fucking the shit out of Caitlyn Jenner. Listen, it might be a mechanical pussy, but that pussy work. All right, we done. I had to lighten the mood. I had to tell a joke, y'all. I had to lighten the mood a little bit. Oh man, I'm going to hell. I am going to hell. But some of y'all coming with me. They knocking the wig off. They listen. There's a reason why Caitlyn Jenner. Yeah, trust me. You think they just have Caitlyn Jenner? Come on, you know they. Listen, older white men, Caitlyn Jenner is they type. All right, moving on from that, y'all. So I wanted to talk about the Epstein Files. So, of course, Trump and his DOJ done scrubbed the shit out of the Epstein Files. But there are a few things that they missed. One being the allegation about Trump with the victim where he was engaged in underage play. Now, the interesting thing about that also is that Bill Clinton, they said that he was involved too as well. Now, the thing with Bill Clinton, right? Because a lot of people want to make this a left versus right. Here's the thing, and most people will agree with that. With this, I don't give a fuck who is in the files. If they are guilty of something, they need to go to jail. No one's making excuses for Bill Clinton. No one is saying that, oh no, don't, not Bill. No one on the left or the Democrats are saying, oh no, not Bill. If Bill is on the list, Bill need to go to jail. Simple as that. We do not give a damn about whether or not Bill Clinton is innocent or not. Like, if he's guilty, he's guilty. I mean, we don't care if he's in the files or not. If he's implemented, then he need to go to jail. Simple as that. No one gives a damn. Now, with Trump, his name was actually listed, and then they later redacted it to where, oh, let me put me full screen. Sorry, hold on. Yeah, and they later redacted it to where they took his name out. But if you looked at the original file, it said Trump. And it said that, and the victim name, last name started with an R. I forgot what the last name was. But it did say Trump assaulted this girl because she was a minor. So yeah, assaulted this girl, had relations with her. Now, if you look at some of the files, because I've skimmed through briefly, a lot of them are blacked out, like what they're reporting on it. Yes, a lot of it is blacked out to where you can't see. One of the major things was the picture with Michael Jackson. Picture with Bill Clinton, Michael Jackson, and Diana Ross, right? They had people covered out, right? Let me bring it up here. Hold on, you guys. I got it right here. This one right here. So you guys probably seen this picture floating around, and it was black. You see the one next to Diana Ross? That's Evan Ross, her son. And then the two at the bottom, that's Prince and, why did I want to say Prince and Princess? Prince and, what's Michael Jackson's daughter name? Paris. Prince and Paris right there. But if you just looked at the picture with it blacked out, you think that those are the victims. No, that's Michael Jackson kids, allegedly. And then that's Diana Ross's son. That's who that is. And then there's pictures with Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker actually stated that he went on a business trip with Bill Clinton, and it was like some kind of humanitarian thing in Africa that they did. I know they went to South Africa, they went to Morocco, they went to a few different places in Africa, and that was that trip. And he stated, he didn't really know the guy. Michael Jackson's bodyguard even stated that how he met Epstein was that he was looking for property in Florida because he wanted to be next to his friend, talking about Michael Jackson. And, he happened to meet Epstein in West Palm Beach. And that's when, he got photos with Michael Jackson and stuff like that. But he didn't know Michael Jackson. They weren't like friends or like homies. So it's interesting how it seems like there's certain pictures that are being released. And mind you, they said that everything will be released within the next 2 weeks. Again, another one of their excuses is that, we needed more time because there's certain stuff that we can't show you guys. We can't show you child material. Again, for the 100 billion time, no one is asking for child material. Let's be clear on that. What people want to see are the names of the people who did this stuff to the victims. That's what we want to see. We're not asking for photos or videos. But again, they want to say you guys are asking for photos and videos. So then people will be like, oh, that's sick. Why would you want to see photos and videos? No, we don't need to see photos and videos. We want to see the exact stuff that was done, who was attached to it, and who needs to go to jail, because somebody needs to be accountable other than two people. One allegedly killed themselves, talking about Jeffrey Epstein, and the second one is Ghislaine Maxwell. But it's so crazy how MAGA don't look at Trump suspicious. One, remember he was anti against the files being released? And then two, he later said it was a Democratic hoax and they put fake stuff in it. And now three, instead of just releasing the files, they said, oh, we need 30 days to prep. There never needed to be a vote to release the Epstein files. I want to let you guys know that. Trump had the authority to tell the DOJ that he wanted it released. He never needed a vote. That was some BS that they were spreading around, but he never needed a vote at all. And the crazy part is now they're talking about, oh, they want to get rid of Pam Bondi. You know, she's the head of the DOJ. They want to, the attorney general, they want to get rid of Pam Bondi, but it's all like Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, he's leaving. But all those people are literally following the lead of Trump. They're trying to protect him. This is why they're not releasing everything and they're trying to redact shit, because they're trying to protect Trump. But it's amazing to me that people aren't realizing or getting the grasp of like, hey, they're literally following his word. And again, trust me, I want them to be impeached and I want them to get Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, get all the mother suckers out of here. But at the end of the day, they're following the lead of Trump. Trump does not want this shit out here. This is why they're doing what they're doing. Because they're following his lead. Now, if anything, as soon as I started going through the files and reading it, I would have been like, oh, I need to get my ass up out of here. I would have already had a plan. You can't tell me that they didn't skim through this when he first got into office. Because why was he already saying like, oh, we don't want to release it because we don't want innocent people to be hurt. And, you know, it's a Democratic hoax and Joe Biden administration put fake stuff in it. He was already talking crap about it. And then this is when he blew up at Marjorie Taylor Greene and all that, because he was upset that how dare you question me and how dare you try to bring this shit up? Like, bury this. Don't do that vote. And then all of a sudden he turned around and was like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and release it. Yeah, let's see, you know? Cammy, that's a good question. That's a good question. I would like to know what happens next. I think more or less. Ooh, and I hate to say this. KZ, what are you talking? He called it a Democratic hoax. Hold on, because y'all not about to play in my face. Hold on. Hold on, y'all.
Jeffrey Epstein made in his emails when he said you knew about the girls?
I know nothing about that. They would have announced that a long time ago. It's really, what did he mean when he spent all the time with Bill Clinton, with the president of Harvard, who you know who that is, Summers, Larry Summers, whatever his name is, and all of the other people that he spent time with. Jeffrey Epstein and I had a very bad relationship for many years. But he also saw a strike because I was president. So he dictated a couple of memos to himself. Give me a break. I don't care about it, released or not. What I think you should do, if you're going to do it, then you have to go into Epstein's friends. This Reid Hoffman spent a lot of time on the island. I was never on his island. Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. You're going to have to look into his friends because, you know, if they're going to do that, and I think the perfect guy to do it would be Southern District, somebody like Jay Clayton. I understand that's who's been assigned.
I have a point, though.
I know nothing about her.
On the release of the files, all the files.
Well, they can have whatever they want. They already do. I think they have 50,000 pages already. Look, this is a Democrat hoax. This is a hoax put out by the Democrat, and a couple of few Republicans have gone along with it because they're weak and ineffective. But this is a Democrat hoax to get away from the fact that they just lost. Democrat hoax. I think they have 50,000 pages already. Look, this is a Democrat hoax. This is a hoax put out by the Democrat, and a couple of few Republicans have gone along with it because.
Okay. So when y'all ever say, "Oh, your news is fake, it's not real," I just wanted to prove that, you know, for the people in the back, you know, why would I lie about that? Why would I lie? That's been reported all over. But KZ, somebody like you, I'm glad that you're here because now you know. Now you know. Now you know, okay, he has said it was a Democratic hoax. Call Epstein scandal a Democratic, again. Hold on, let's watch another one. Let's watch another one because you're going to get educated today. You ain't going to be stupid no more. You're going to get educated today. Hold on, let's watch something else. Hold on.
Been survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents to be released. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir?
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given, but it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars. Nobody's going to talk about because they're going to talk about the Epstein, whatever. Sir, I understand that we were.
What wars did he end, y'all? What the fuck is he talking? Gaza is still getting bombed. That they're supposed to be having some kind of peace treaty with whatchamacallit, Russia and Ukraine. But I mean, he called it a Democratic hoax multiple times. I didn't lie about that. But mind you, he said that he was going to release the files. The hostages are free, however, they are still dropping bombs on Gaza. So do you consider, so here's the thing. So do you consider that a win? And especially when so many hostages have died. I don't even know how many hostages were still alive by the time they got the hostages out. Oh, thank you, Hot Like Tabasco. I appreciate that. Hold on. Let's look that up real quick. How many hostages were alive? $83 hostages were killed in Gaza. 168 hostages survived and were returned as of December 16, 2025. One hostage remains are still in Gaza. Okay, according to Israel, at least 250 additional individuals were captured on the first day. Okay, so it says 168 hostages survived. Okay. I was trying to get the full total of how many they took and then how many were still alive. Okay, I don't have that there. But again, I think that because I want to talk about what I thought about the Epstein, is anybody going to be held accountable? No, honestly, I don't think anybody's going to be held accountable in the Epstein Files. I don't think so. I think this is more or less, we're going to see people's true colors. Whether or not we pick and choose who we consider victims, or, you know, do we believe victims, or it's based on who we like. Because again, if Bill Clinton is implicated in this, he needs to go to jail. But for MAGA, are they still going to try to run with the narrative that Trump was an informant and that he was trying to turn Jeffrey Epstein in? Because y'all heard that before, right? Put a one if you heard that. That he was an informant and that he was working with the feds to then turn Jeffrey Epstein in. Something tells me that his people believe that. Because even though Trump name is in here, the focus is all on Bill Clinton. Yeah, I heard he was undercover. See, V, you heard the same thing. He was an insider or an undercover agent. Even though what's funny is that they don't talk about John Casablanca, who was doing the same thing as Jeffrey Epstein back in the early 90s. AT2, you can pull up every fact. They still gonna believe what they want to. Yeah, and you know, and that's the sad part. That's why I don't think anything is going to happen. Which, what I'm saying is, like, I'm not saying that I don't want the files released. However, when it comes to people perceptions about Trump, they're going to believe who they're going to believe. They don't care. You got to remember, a lot of these people said that only the Democrats were on the list. No Republicans. But now that you see that Trump name is all up and down, they done redacted a whole bunch of shit. What do they have to say? Are any of them like, oh man, we supported the wrong guy? And let's be honest about something. They already knew that Trump was best friends with him. Do I have to pull up the picture? They knew Trump was best friends with him. They didn't give a damn. Stop trying to treat these people like they got morals and values. They don't. They don't give a damn. They don't care. That's not what they cared about. To them, when it comes to rich people, oh, they're rich. You know, that's what they do. That's how they think. I'm not lying. I'm not making this up. That's how they think. Oh, they're rich. This is what they do. No. If you have money, if you're broke, if you're middle class, you need to go to jail. That's the way I was raised. You need to go to jail either way. Just because you have money, like, ding, ding, ding. See, Darcy, no. Exactly. Yes, it had Thanksgiving dinner his first term. Remember we just watched that video when he was on Air Force One and he was all like, oh yeah, he's a very bad guy. He's a bad guy, blah, blah, blah. And we had a falling out. He tried to make every excuse, but to say, yeah, that was my homie. And we was going, getting girls and it. Like, don't forget that those girls that Jeffrey Epstein was getting, some of them came from Mar-a-Lago. Some of them came from Mar-a-Lago, and and a lot of them were brought to Mar-a-Lago. And so far from what I've seen, what everybody has reported, they haven't really talked about like who went to the island. A lot of it seemed like it happened within the United States. It's a lot of it about Florida and a lot of it about his New York mansion. So stuff happened in New York and stuff was happening in Florida. I haven't seen too much about the whole island. It seemed like the island part has not been unmasked yet. At least I haven't seen anything really about the island. It seemed like most of the victims were saying Florida and New York, or they said they traveled somewhere, but I haven't heard too much like, yeah, we were on the island and this is where everything was going down. Maybe jurisdiction could be, but the Virgin Islands still counts as the US. So I wouldn't think that it wouldn't, but for the other countries, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. But for those of you who don't know, Epstein Island, that it's in the Virgin Islands. Right, Shy Guy. Remember they were saying Beyonce and Jay-Z, Diddy had his own thing. They were listing a whole bunch of black celebrities. Remember that? It was a whole bunch of black celebrities and stuff like that they were listed. Very interesting. Now, I think a lot of us want to see where was the money going? Like, can we trace the money? Because that will tell us a lot, the money. Where was the money being funneled and where was the money actually coming from? Because they said Jeffrey Epstein was this finance guy, but he didn't even have a degree. And he worked at Harvard. So, yeah. Now, I wanted to go ahead and finish with the last thing, you guys. So, Keith Edwards, he's a YouTuber. He has over 1 million. He talks about politics. He does like a lot of clickbait and stuff like that. But he was called out by Higher Learning Podcast from Van Latham, who called him a pussy. If you guys didn't see my video the other day, I had posted it. Let me see. And it was a long show too. Let me just tell you guys. It was 46 minutes, but
going to face.
okay, so let me just set this up for you guys. So basically, Keith Edwards have been coming under fire because of the way that he talks about Black women in particular. Now, here's the thing. There's been this whole conversation. We talked about it about Jasmine Crockett, right? And them saying that James Tallarico has a better chance. Jasmine Crockett is egotistical and it's all about her. She's doing this for her name recognition. She doesn't care about the people of Texas. James Tallarico is the best choice, blah, 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 whatever, right? Here's the thing. There's no problem with saying that, I think James Tallarico would be better. But the fact that somebody like Keith Edwards is downplaying Jasmine Crockett like she's nobody, calling her egotistical and going after her, trying to shade her, it's very weird. And I'm seeing that a lot, not just from Keith Edwards, but because he does have a large platform and he responds to it. A lot of people don't like it and they have every right to call him out. Now, in this clip, you'll see like Van was actually defending him, saying like, he thinks that it's not a problem that he's talking about Jasmine Crockett. But I think Van doesn't see the bigger picture, that his criticism for Jasmine Crockett was then used to say, hey, well, this black man agrees with me. How come you guys are just attacking me because I'm white? He was used as a pawn, and he's not seeing that. And you see Rachel trying to explain it to him, and he's not really getting it. So I just want to play a little bit of this, and I'll put the link for the full video.
The Republican when it comes to, and really what's going to happen in the Republican race as well, of who's going to face off against each other in the midterms. You're following it. You're reporting on it. You're choosing to report a certain way on it, which is what is making people say, that's what's happening. So everything
he's an opinion guy.
Okay, but he reports in various ways. I'm just telling you what people are saying.
Yeah.
What people are seeing is every time you report James, it's one way. Every time you report Jasmine, it's another way. And why can't you say without because he hasn't said, hey, I'm for James. He hasn't said, hey, I'm against or for Jasmine. But the rhetoric you continue to push out on your page for James versus Jasmine, it's making people say, well, why can't you put out one story that Jasmine, like what's the animus or the thing that you're against Jasmine? And it's making people ask that question. And I think that the reason I would rather have him answer that, which is why I would love for him to come on this podcast, rather than say, hey, you're a racist because of what you're putting out. I would question, why are you doing this? Why aren't you putting out this video? Why didn't you put Jasmine's video where she did her full announcement? Why are you only putting up the positive of James Tallarico? Why aren't you putting up some of the other stuff people are saying about James? Those are the questions people are asking. And then they're jumping to saying racism, which I don't agree with. The question I would say is, why are you doing it?
So this is, and I'll come back to this and then I'll ask it this.
When there's not a stark contrast between the two, other than the way they look, which is what people are jumping on.
There's not a stark contrast between the two for you. For him, I watched the video where he went throughout the video and he said James Tallarico is a better candidate to win a general election in Texas. And he used one data point. I'm not sure if this is a catch-all data point or if I totally agree with it, but he used the data point that said amongst people that are outside of the left bubble, 49% of them said that they would never vote for Jasmine Crockett, while 40 of them said that they would never vote for James Tallarico or something like that. So he said there's a 9-point difference in people who would consider voting for James Tallarico in a general election in Texas and people who would not vote for Jasmine Crockett. I don't know that data point is that reliable. I don't. Yeah. I don't know that there's any way to say that he can perform in the general election better than Jasmine Crockett can. I don't. But I do think that particularly for our podcast or other places like this, if we're talking about the way CNN covers them, if we're talking about the way...
So the point that Van was trying to make, because I don't think Van is necessarily familiar with the situation, he's more or less trying to say that, hey, well, this is the candidate that he likes, so this is why he's picking James Tallarico over Jasmine Crockett. And I get that, but that's not what's going on. Like, he's literally trying to throw shade at Jasmine Crockett and call her egotistical and that she can't get the voter base riled up and that she's not a good candidate. And it's kind of like, first, Jasmine Crockett just announced her candidacy last week, right? And the thing about it is that as soon as she announced, all of a sudden you see all these attacks on her, and it's all like, why? Mind you, during a primary, everybody who wants to run is supposed to run. So why were people trying to say, oh no, Jasmine Crockett, don't run? Well, if she's not supposed to be the nominee, she will not win, and James Tallarico will win. Why does it matter if she runs or not? If he's meant to be the guy, he will be the guy. And the talking point about you're going to get these, more Republicans are more likely to vote for him, it's not true. They tried this before, this whole, oh, you need to be more centrist so you can go ahead and get the MAGA people on your side. I'm going to let everybody know. It don't matter. It does not matter. You need to turn out the base, and you need to convince people that are registered voters that don't come out to vote. You need to inspire those people. That's why I like Jasmine Crockett when she gave that answer, like, I don't need the Trump voter. Like, that's not who I'm trying to attract. You need to turn out the base. At the end of the day, there's this thought process of like, oh, how do we flip MAGA, aka white people? How do you flip white people or the MAGA base? How do you flip them over to the Democratic side? They're not coming over. They're not coming over. Not at all. I want to let you guys know something. Do you know the last time a Democrat won the white vote? I'm going to do a 30-second countdown. When was the last time a Democrat won the white vote? 30 seconds. For president. I'm sorry. When was the last time a Democrat won the white vote for president? Ding, 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 ding. LBJ, before the Civil Rights Act was passed. Because remember, he ended up dropping out. But that was the last time a Democrat has won the white vote, the majority. A lot of people think it's Obama, but it actually wasn't Obama. Obama was able to get more male vote, the higher percentage in male vote, but he did not win the white vote. That still went to John McCain. But LBJ was the last time, and that was before the Civil Rights Act was passed. Now, am I saying that they decided not to because the Civil Rights Act was passed? I mean, I'm not saying it, but I mean, what changed? Now, I know about the Southern strategy and stuff. Like, we know about that, right? But the South wasn't always all red. It was still mixed with blue. Like, for example, Jimmy Carter, he won Georgia. He's actually from Georgia, so that made a lot difference. But, he won Georgia. Now Georgia is kind of like a purple state now, but beforehand it was very red. Before we got Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, it was very red. I mean, they still have a red governor. It turned red in 2024. But LBJ was the last time. Now, am I saying that you should not try to get the white vote? No, that's not what I'm saying. But the people that you're going to get, the white people that you're going to get, were already going to vote for the Democrat. So the people that you want to turn out, which Jasmine Crockett has said this, you want to turn out the voter base. When Beto ran against Ted Cruz, it was like 51 to like 48% or something like that, I think, during that election. But he had about 80% of the Black vote and then 65% of the Latino vote. So the thought process is, if you max that and turn that number out with the Latino vote, and then you keep the significant number of the Black vote, you can then win the election. But that rural area, that kind of stuff that y'all think y'all gonna get, listen, Trump canceled the whole the USAD, USADA, he canceled all of that, right? And they're still wanting Trump. Like, the farmers have been hurting, especially in Arkansas, Nebraska. Where else are the farmers hurting, you guys? I think another one was like Iowa, I believe. But the farmers are, whatchamacallit, they're suffering right now, right? Texas, Minnesota, and they're still going to vote for Trump no matter what. Even though they're hurting, they're still going to vote for Trump. So thinking that those people that are hurting are going to then change their mind and now vote for you, no, they don't care. They're dead set in their ways. You're not flipping them. And I'm not saying that none of them are going to, change their vote, but trying to get that voter base, yeah. And I'm at the USAID. I'm sorry, the USAID, because Cammie was like, wait, the USAID. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. But y'all got me. Y'all understood what I was saying. But yeah, you're not gonna flip that vote. You're not. Now, still, be seen, go in the area and try to do what you do, but trying to, they think that basically what the Democrats believe, if we run a white candidate, a white male, they'll be able to get the white vote. That's what the Democrats are thinking. This is why they're already propping up Gavin Newsom as the guy. The reason why they're propping up Gavin Newsom is because they believe that Gavin Newsom will get all the white voters on his side, and then the Democrats will win. It's not a guarantee. The neglected voters, those are the ones that you need to get. But if you think the strategy is run a white male and it's going to work, it's not. No. Because I think also people aren't realizing too, there was a recall. Now, he didn't lose, but there was a recall. The homelessness, immigration, affordability, all those things are going against Gavin Newsom. Now, granted, those things were already an issue before Gavin came into the picture, but they're going to use that against him. Oh, Marcel, I didn't know you was a Gavin fan like that. Okay, cap for Gavin. Listen, I don't mind that you capping for him. He ain't gonna win, but I don't mind that. Let me ask y'all, let me start some shit. Before we end the show, I like Westmore, I do, but I think he said that he's not gonna run for president though. 30-second countdown. Who should be the Democratic nominee in 2028? 30 seconds. No, Death God, I'm about to block you. Why'd you say that? Let me put the comment up. Not no damn Marjorie Taylor Greene. But the way it's looking, she could be. You never know. Oh, Josh Shapiro? I don't know. Well, no, they said Josh Shapiro and Pete Buttigieg. They said that they have 0% of the black vote. Like they rank pretty low. And to win a primary, you do need the black vote. And they're not, you know. Okay. Okay, I see a lot of y'all. Yeah, Michelle Obama, she's not gonna run. Yeah. Can you drop the link real quick, 5 minutes about LBJ? Yeah, send me some money and I'll drop it. I take Cornel West. You know, I like Cornel West. You know, I love when he speaks. I listen, but I don't think him running for president, I'm like, ugh. And mind you, I'm one of those people, I think everyone should run. Andy Beshear, I hear that name a lot too. David Hogg, the young man that survived in the Oakland shooting, was vice president of the DNC. He wanted to primary all the do-nothing Democrats, and the DNC fired him, get big money out of politics. You know, David Hogg, I don't necessarily not like him, but I don't like him either. It's not that I don't like him, but I don't like him either. It's something about his approach. I'm gonna say something really controversial right now. I think because of his story, you know, people kind of latched on to him. But as far as like what has he done, I don't know. I don't know what he has done, like what he has accomplished. You know, I can appreciate him being a disruptor, but I mean, did it help? Did it do anything? No. Okay. I hate to put it like that. Like, you know, the tragedy happened. Definitely glad that he survived. I know that his voice is very, very heavy and pushing for gun control and stuff like that. But as far as when he got into that position, the president, the co-president of the DNC, yeah, I don't think that was the right position for him. No. And am I saying that you should play the game and stuff like that? No. I'm not necessarily saying that you should play the game. But what a lot of people think is that, yeah, we need to get in there and we need to burn the house down and we need to flip it. That's great. But after we burn the house down and we flip it, then what's next? You know, what's next? Okay, thank you, Stephanie. You know, after you burn the house down, what's next? I always want to know what the next is. Because there's never a next. Just like they told us last time, oh, don't vote. Okay, well, not voting got us the situation that we got right now. So what is the, you know, what is the, I don't know what's the other option is, you know? Okay. Okay, here goes Stephanie. What's up, Stephanie? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. What to do, cuz?
Okay. What's up?
Hey, I did some research because I was wondering when the Civil Rights Bill was passed, because it was passed in 1964, the year of the election. It was actually passed, LBJ signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 before the election in November. He signed it in July. Barry Goldwater was the Republican who ran against LBJ. LBJ actually lost the South to Barry Goldwater. He still won the white vote because he won most of the country. It was a landslide. But Barry Goldwater carried the South, the Deep South. LBJ won Texas, of course, because he's from here. But
Right.
Barry Goldwater, the very, very, very conservative Republican, won the Deep South and Arizona, of all places. Arizona's always had a tradition of very strange politics. It's not part of the Deep South. Like, they objected to Martin Luther King Day and stuff. It's always been a problematic state, even though it's not the Deep South. But yeah, he
Right.
carried the Deep South and he carried Arizona. So I think sort of liberal Democrats. There was a sort of like with Kennedy and LBJ's like anti-poverty, Great Society programs. I think there was a sort of rise in liberalism among white people, especially like educated, college educated, whatever. And so,
Right.
he carried the white vote. But in the Deep South, no, they flipped because they were mad about that civil rights legislation. Absolutely. They didn't like Kennedy either. They saw LBJ as a successor of Kennedy in line with Kennedy. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting thing. And I don't know, like you said, Carter carried Georgia, right? But
Mhm.
I think ever since then, the South has been pretty much, anti-Democrat. Now, my own grandmother voted for Carter because Carter was a good Southern Baptist. But, other than that, right? The Deep South has been Republican ever since. So yeah, I mean, it's sometimes they send like Democrats to the Senate and stuff, but yeah, it's going to be a miracle. Well, not a miracle, but it's going to be a while, I think, given the South's politics before a Democrat's going to carry the South in presidential elections.
Yeah, and you know what it is too? Let me put me back on the screen. I really think it's about investing the money. When you don't invest the money in the people in that portion, then yeah, they're not going to really come out in support. Like, you have to show face. And I think the way that it works with anybody, like, they kind of see like, okay, well, we know we're going to win in this area, so let's turn out this area and not put money really into the areas where you're not going to win. And I think you should show face everywhere. Just show it, forgetting about an area because, oh yeah, they typically vote this way. I think that's the wrong message. You need to go everywhere, all 50 states.
Yeah, yes, I agree with that. I think people consider the South a lost cause. That might be justified to a certain extent, but I think as people from other places move into the South, like Alabama's having a huge population move from outside, the country or outside the South. A lot of people are moving there because of industry that's coming to Alabama. Georgia, it's the same way with Atlanta. There are urban populations that are gaining a lot of people who did not grow up in the South are moving there. Politics might change because of the influx of non-Southerners. And also the South is getting less and less rural, so that is also going to affect how people vote because it tends to be that the cities will vote Democrat to a certain extent.
Right. And you know what the funny part is? I just thought about this too right now because you had said the good Southern Baptist thing. Jasmine Crockett's father is a pastor, but I only hear about James Tallarico being a Christian. Isn't that interesting?
It is. And, he is a very non-traditional Christian. I don't know that his Christianity is going to appeal to the more traditional Christians of Texas, the evangelicals, the Pentecostals, the Baptist Pentecostals. I'm not sure that, because he has a very liberal, progressive understanding of Jesus and Christianity. And I think that is a big conflict in evangelicalism right now. They're really like, it's like the atheists, we don't care. The other Christian, other religions, we don't care. It's an internal fighting Like, we got to root out the progressives. And that's what James Tallarico is. And so I think that might be a problem for the people that they think James Tallarico is going to court.
Right. I think they're thinking like, oh yeah, they're gonna relate to him because he's a white Christian, and it's not like, no, I don't think. If he was talking about ban abortion and all this other stuff, then yeah, they probably would. But he's like you said, he's more progressive. They're not going to that's not a guarantee.
Nah. They don't like that. They don't like Christians. And they think those people are really anti-Christians and that they're, false teachers, wolves in sheep's clothing, all that stuff. And so those are the people that they're trying to get out, not welcoming at all.
Right. And I think also too, with Texas, it's so big and there's so many different areas. So it's like, really, you can't just try to run one way and think that's going to work. You have to try something new and you have to try something different.
And I saw somebody in the chat say that Harris County is so important. It really is. It really, really is. Houston is one of the biggest cities in the country, and Dallas is one of the biggest cities in the country. They have a very diverse population. They have a very educated population, both cities. And they have a very Democratic leaning population. They've gerrymandered the hell out of those cities, so it's hard to get Congress members into the House of Representatives from Texas. But a Senate race, where you could everybody's voting at the same time. If you can do those cities and mobilize, if you can do those cities and mobilize, like in San Antonio, traditionally very blue. Of course, Austin's a foregone conclusion, right? Like Austin's, they're going to get Austin, no matter who the nominee is. But if you get in there and mobilize people, and I just have a feeling that for people who are traditionally not voting, I think if people who are traditionally voting Democrat are going to vote for either one of them, right? We got to get people to the polls who are not going to vote either way, who are not necessarily going to vote, and motivate them to vote. And I think Jasmine's going to do that.
Right. And I think also, too, when you think about it, you have to have somebody who can raise money. Obviously, Jasmine Crockett is going to be able to raise the money to really get the ads and stuff that you need, because James Tallarico, I've never heard of him until this year.
Right. Yeah, and Jasmine has a name recognition, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, Stephanie, are you going to vote for Judge Boyd when she's up for re-election?
Judge Boyd does not like Stephanie Collins. Let me tell you, Judge Boyd likes Stephanie Collins. I've been to Judge Boyd's court.
Judge Boyd cussing you out. Well, she don't cuss people out.
She didn't cuss me out, but she was looking for a good reason to hold me in contempt. Yes, she was. She was looking for a good reason to hold me in contempt, and she didn't find it that day. But when it came time for the trial that I was going to have in her court, she handed it off to a visiting judge. So, because she did not, she was tired of me. She's like, yeah, I ain't dealing with her. She's annoying. We're out. And she took the week off. She got a visiting judge to come in. Yep.
Yeah, for those of you guys haven't looked up Judge Boyd, she is hilarious. I love her. Is she out of Dallas?
No, Bexar County. So I can't vote for her because she's in Bexar County, San Antonio, right? That's the big city in Bexar County. Yeah. Okay. And it's just 2 counties away, but that's why I practiced in front of her, because it's close, right? But I can't vote for her. I know she's got a very big following, and she's very entertaining. I know that I've watched her from when I'm not in her court, she's very entertaining, right? And I've seen her do various things, but she makes lawyers' lives hell on earth. Let me tell you, it's a battle from the moment you walk in there, and it's like, dude, why is it gotta be like this? And it's funny because I don't know why. I don't know if it's like enjoying the internet, like the YouTube fame. I don't know what her motivation is necessarily, but she will not turn off the cameras, even if you ask.
She likes the fame. I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell she likes the fame. This is why, she has the little things that she say. You can tell, you know, she's trying to make a moment to go viral. But I mean, I can't say that I haven't seen all her videos, but I can't say that I've seen anything to where I was all like, oh yeah, I don't like her. Like everything that she says to me is funny.
She was almost in trouble with the Judicial Commission because she was her live chat was on. It used to be on. She used to have a live chat, and now it's off. If you look, like she doesn't have a live chat anymore during her live streams. She had to turn it off because people were in there basically saying, like, you know, watching sentencing, and for people who had very inflammatory allegations, let's say, like involve children or something like that, they'd be in the chat going like, give him 100, give him, you know, 50, give him a life sentence, you know, and it kind of, there was a question on whether or not her chat was influencing her, and even if it's like an image of possible unethical behavior, like even if it's like could be perceived to be unethical, if there's a question, you know, the Judicial Commission was like, we need to make sure that this is not even a perceived influence, so she had to turn it off.
Oh, okay. Well, Stephanie, thank you for coming up. I appreciate you.
Thank you. See you later, cuz. Love you.
Love you too.
Oh man, you done let Stephanie go. I was trying to ask Stephanie a question. Dog.
Oh no, because I'm trying to get to the store before it closes. That's why I wanted to like let everybody.
Okay. I just have one question for you anyway. Now, are you in Northern Cal? Are you in Northern Cal or Southern Cal?
Yeah, I'm in the Bay.
Okay, you're in the Bay. All right. Now, here's my thing. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. Let me just state that. I don't like neither one of you ninjas. I think all of you crazy. That's just me, right? But I've been doing and watching politics for a very long time, right? And my first time voting, when I got in high school, I had the opportunity to vote, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life because I felt like it was really, worth doing for the world, etc. But you tell me one person, AT2, that's on the Democratic landscape right now that can run a successful campaign financially and have a smooth backing campaign without any hiccups or stumbles in the Democratic Party right now, other than Gavin Newsom.
So you think Gavin Newsom can run it without any hiccups or anything like that?
The hiccups that you named, talking about homeless people and all that other stuff, all of these other states, if we really want to be technical, for those of us that are in California, we know for a fact that all of these other states are sending their people to us. They are putting their people on buses and sending them to California. So you arguing at us talking about how much homeless people we have. We wouldn't have so many if y'all stopped sending them over here. We would be fine. Y'all buying them bus tickets. We even know that. We know that for a fact.
Right. But are the people going to care about the explanation? I know that, but are they going to care about the explanation?
I think so, because
California is used as a slur.
No, I think they will understand it if it is articulately spoken of and explained to them in a fashion that people can understand what we have been experiencing in California overwhelmingly. It doesn't really matter what political stance or what side you're on. The problem with our political narrative is we just do everything in sound bites, right? And nobody is taking the time to sort of explain to people what's actually happening in the country. And so I think as far as the political machine is concerned, I don't see anybody having the ability to work the political machine. That Beto O'Rourke, I was rooting for Beto O'Rourke until I realized he's a crackpot. He cracked under the pressure. I was like, man, you out here, got your button up shirt all unbuttoned, your sleeves roll up. I'm thinking, yeah, man, you're going to do it. Next thing I know, this fool, he's sweating on camera and can't answer questions. I'm like, wait a minute, what kind of politician are you? So I'm just asking, for those of you, maybe somebody in the chat can tell me who other than Gavin Newsom can run a successful, well-oiled machine and produce results in the Democratic Party.
But I feel like when you say successful, that's implying that Gavin Newsom is going to run a successful campaign.
Well, you see, they've tried to impeach him twice. Successfully, he's defeated him twice.
Mhm.
And he's used the machine to make sure that he could do that.
Yeah.
So
But is
I'm
that
just
because
saying,
we love Gavin Newsom, or that's because we didn't want Larry Elder? Because I didn't want Larry Elder.
no, well, I mean, I've had friends that went to the no, I'm for real, for real. I'm with you. I got you. I got homeboys that went to the no, for real, for real. I got homeboys that went to the Larry Elder dinner, the fundraiser dinner that they had for him. I got friends who are Republicans, bro. Trust me, you know, I got them. So here's my thing: is this? No, Larry Elder. You know, there's a certain kind of Republican that people can tolerate. You know, people know when you're a stupid Republican versus a knowledgeable Republican. You know,
Right.
there are some Republicans who are knowledgeable, and there are certain Republicans who are just people, regular people. They just have different belief systems as the political landscape. We can respect that, whether you're black or white, because I got black friends who are Republicans. I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Right.
But in this sense, I'm saying for Democrats, because see, Democrats love to lose. And I know y'all gonna hate me saying this, but the most thing I hate about Democrats is they have no spine, AT2. These Republicans will tell you one thing and do something else, and the Democrats then got to rescatter and try to come up with a different plan. My thing is, Democrats need to pounce in this next election. This is not about being anybody's friend. This is about leveling the playing field and correcting some of the stuff that has been done. Some of this stuff is going to affect us in ways that we haven't even seen yet. If you're on any sort of medications, especially if you're diabetic and you're on insulin and things like that, this stuff has real consequences. I'm not a Democrat. I can't stand these Democrats. Democrats will put somebody up like Dianne Feinstein for the next election, and she's dead. They'll be like, "We want Dianne, but she's dead."
Right. Oh my God.
But that's my thought. That's all I wanted to say. So you tell me. I want you to really give it some thought, and I'm gonna listen to you, AT2. Find me a Democrat, a young progressive Democrat who can, other than this young guy that just won in New York, but I think it's too early for him to run for president. It's just way too early. You gotta find me somebody.
But he didn't have to be born in the U.S., ma'am Donnie.
I thought he was.
No. He was. I know he's from Uganda, but he wasn't born in the U.S., I don't think. And like you said, it's way too soon, too, ma'am Donnie is from where?
Yeah, because I'm
struggling. Yeah.
And these Democrats are so sitting up talking about, oh, it's gonna be a blue wave. Listen to me. Not all indications and in all places where it shows that there's going to be some sort of blue wave. First of all, because Democrats also have to put money behind their campaigns. And I don't care what none of y'all say. These campaigns now are requiring an enormous amount of money. You're talking some of these campaigns are running into the billions of dollars. So and the Democrats don't like giving you nothing but $5. They like church people. They just want to give you $2 and $3, and hope for the best. Republicans spend hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yes. And we don't even talk about how, a lot of these podcasters and stuff like that, they're funded by these big people, like these millionaires and billionaires. And this is why, they shit looks all professional, because they're getting the backing.
Yeah.
Like the Democrats don't spend any money on the people. Oh, here's Stephanie. She came back.
Oh, good. Now, Stephanie, for real. And I love your thought process. That's why I'm always asking you and digging deep in those questions. I wanted to talk to you because I watch these judge shows. When you brought up the judge, I said, now wait a minute now. First of all, this is the only judge I've ever seen. You can talk to her for 35, 40 minutes and you can plead your case. And it seemed like she just rambled off your sentence in the next sentence in like 5 seconds. Like she already done made up her mind. She just waiting for you to finish talking so she can tell you what she's about to give you. If you guys have ever watched this judge that they mentioned, it's like she takes none of this stuff into consideration. And that's why they had her up on that review board. And then she got mad, because in that review board, that man told the truth about her in that. And because I watched that video, that judge, she does not take into the consideration of the things that the people that are pleading their case before her. She's already made up her mind.
Well, I've seen one video where the guy, he just wanted to get sentenced, and she was telling him like, hey, if you come back to court, we'll lesser the charge. And he kept saying like, oh, I don't want to come back, I'm done.
He
And
was
she was
a
like, well,
Negro,
if
and
I
she was trying
lower
to save
it,
his dumb butt.
yeah, she was trying to save him. So I think that she actually does care. Like,
Okay,
that's
that's one
that
case.
she does.
That's
I
one
don't think.
case, AT2. I watch this lady all the time. This lady be
Okay.
putting the hammer down on everybody. She has no it's no leeway with this lady. And don't get caught up in front of her. Because like that one lady that used the N-word and thought she was gonna be slick. You know what I'm saying? Oh no.
She said a ninja knock. I ain't never heard of a ninja knock before, but she said a ninja knock. Yeah, I remember.
You know,
that
so
term
that
is
something else.
unfortunately used in the South. I heard kids say that when I grew up. Yeah, where I grew up.
Wow,
Crazy.
really?
But Stephanie, you think well, first of all, she's gonna be reelected because the folks love her putting the hammer down on people because she don't give you no grace.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she gonna be reelected. But Stephanie, let me just say this. In AT2, you think about this. We always keep having to vote for these judges that we don't know nothing about. They don't never give you no information on these judges, what their judicial record is. They don't tell you how many people these people are sending to jail, death row, nothing. But then they ask us to vote for these judges. If you all think about it, how many of these judges do you vote for where you actually know these people's judicial record and their history, and you just vote for them and put them in the office like you know these people? You don't know nothing about these people's history. Why are you voting for a judge and you don't know nothing?
Right, just like the city council and everything like that. Let's let Stephanie go.
It's really difficult. Like I think it's if somebody was being protecting that the reasons behind that, they would say like it's hard to keep a judicial record. It's hard to keep like it's not necessarily fair to say like how many people they've sent to jail versus probation because every case is different. Yada 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 yada. Right? But it's also like judges can't answer questions based on politics because they're not supposed to give advisory opinions or be political, right? And so you really can't get a sense of what these people would do in court, like as far as sentencing and stuff like that. They might say like, I want to start a program for youth. I want to start like a youth offender program. I want to start a drug court. I want to start a specialty court. They can talk about stuff like that, but they can't really get into like how they feel about the law or anything. And so it is hard to know what they do or what their opinions are. And I think most people in states where judges are elected, they go in and they just look at what party they're running for if they run on a party.
And that's the problem.
Right. Like in Arkansas, they can't be affiliated with a political party. They just have to run as an individual. But like here in Texas, they run as either Democrat or Republican. And so people just get elected based on like the area that they're from. Like here in Travis County, you cannot get elected if you're a Republican. You can't. But like everywhere else in Texas, like the Republicans are going to win, pretty much.
Yeah, but
right.
see, my thing is, if you're going to list the party AT2, it would make sense for you to have some understanding of a person's judicial record before you go to voting for them. So let me tell you what I do, Steph. I just say no straight across the board. I vote no for everybody. No, 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 and no, no, no. That's what I say. I say no all the way down the board.
But I don't think ours tell you what party they are. I don't think ours tell you what party
they don't. They just let you be stupid here. We don't care in California. We just let you be dumb.
Yeah, we have no indicator of who it is.
I have appeared in front of judges who were my friends because they were defense attorneys for a long time. I voted for them because I believed in them. I thought they'd be fair judges. I thought they'd be empathetic to defendants. I thought they'd understand like the positions that defendants were coming from. I thought they'd be fair on the law because I've seen them try so many cases and they understood the law, yada, yada, yada. I have been disappointed so many times. I couldn't vote for judges. I won't touch it. I won't touch it.
Well, I think Judge Boyd, the only way you getting out of Judge Boyd with a life sentence is you got to piss on yourself. I'm saying, you got to wet yourself right in front of her and lay on the ground and say things like gummy bears. Just keep repeating gummy bears. Because let me tell you right now, she's sitting down the river.
Right. And for those of you who don't know, this is Judge Boyd right here. This is who we're talking about.
She wanted to send me down the river. Oh, I'm sorry, AT2. I was just going to say, she wanted to send me down the river, and I wasn't even charged with nothing.
She's mean as heck. And she already made up her mind. I don't care what nobody say.
Listen, she's entertaining to me. Judge Boyd, come on my show. I would love to interview you.
If she found out if she found out I was your cuz, she might actually come on the show so she could, tell me what she really felt about me. Honestly, that'd be funny. That'd be real funny.
Right, and I want her to release the tape of you too, so we can talk about it and drag you.
You probably would. Honestly, you probably would.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I do agree with the judges. Like, we need to have more information. And I feel that way with city council, the supervisor. Like, we really don't know who those people are. I think one thing that helps us in California is that we get the mail-in ballots automatically, so we can actually look the people up. But I remember beforehand, I'll go in there like, oh shit, any, mini, money, mo.
Well, but I go to the city council meetings, and see, that's where people have to stop. You can go to your local city council meetings.
Right.
One of my friends, and I actually work a lot in my cities. One of my friends is the first Black city planning commissioner for my area. He's the first one ever. So when you have certain things going on in your local area, you need to be involved. You need to be civically involved. That's how I answer that with the city council and things like that. Even the planning commissioning board. Most people don't understand how their municipalities work. They just expect certain things to happen, but they don't know how things actually get done in their cities. That's all I'm saying.
No, V, we weren't talking about that, Judge. No.
Judge Boyd is a real elected judge in Bexar County, Texas. Yep. She is honest to God. And it's funny because judges started streaming during the pandemic because we had to have open courts constitutionally. Both the U.S. Constitution and the Texas Constitution guarantee open courts.
Yeah.
So to be able to
Zoom.
Yeah, and to protect the Open Courts Act, the Open Courts Policy, they had to stream it to the public, right? But in Judge Boyd's court, nobody appears via Zoom. They're all in the courtroom. So there's no reason for her, and the courts are open. So there's no constitutional or policy reasons for her to be streaming. She's streaming because she wants to, because she likes people to see that shit.
Right.
That's just Boyd.
Absolutely.
Listen, I love the pettiness.
That hammer's coming. I don't care what you do in front of this judge. You screwed.
Yeah. All right, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and end the show right here, so I
Well,
can get ready.
I actually came because if you don't mind, I came up here to say one thing. I did not give enough credit to Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement, the Black civil rights movement, to how they influenced the 1964 election. Because I think, people were really, people in the North really agreed with that. I said, to a certain class of white people supported that, right? They did not like what they were seeing on the TV. Martin Luther King really helped change their minds about stuff. They realized the importance of what was happening. They realized how bad it was in the South and how important it was for things to change, right? Now, they were still racist, don't get me wrong, but I think, they wanted, I think there's a sort of, sometimes a very diabolical motivation there that they wanted to prove they weren't racist, and so, they wanted to support the civil rights candidate. But regardless, they wanted to prove that they were better than the hillbillies of the South to a certain extent. But, regardless, MLK really had a big, and the civil rights movement as a whole had a big influence on that election. So I didn't want to, I did not mention that. And so I did not want to walk away not giving Black people and Black men their credit for what happened in U.S. history.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, thank you for that.
That's all I want to come back up and say.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Marcellus, for coming up. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. And thank you, cuz, as always. All right, you guys, we're going to go ahead and end the show right there. This was a good show, you guys. I like that. I was happy that I did drop the link because we had a good conversation. And now we know Marcellus is an undercover Gavin Newsom fan. So now we know. V Goddess, V Goddess, you are not coming on my show to ruin my damn show. V Goddess, get your weird ass somewhere and sit your ass down. Bye. All right, y'all. We out of here. Shout out to Stephanie. Shout out to Marcella. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We out.